The delicate balance between the government's revenue needs and the citizens' willingness to contribute in form of taxes triggered an unprecedented turn of events that saw the government forced to drop the entire bill amid youth-led protests. The youth, otherwise known as the Generation Z, fashioned themselves as young, tech-savvy, patriotic Kenyans who took to the streets armed with phones, the Kenyan flag and white handkerchiefs, advocating for accountability. And as the government marks 2 years in office, our reporter Abdi Aziz Hashim looks at the intricacies that characterize the finance bill that saw the legislature and executive in a tight spot over the contents of the bill.
It is exactly 2 years since the Kenya Kwanza administration took over power. Within the 24 months of their rule, the country has witnessed radical changes, especially to its governance system. But how as a country did we reach to the radical changes that have been made within the political system, especially when the Treasury fronted two critical bills in the year 2023 and now the withdrawn Finance Bill of 2024?
William Samoei Ruto.
The journey to the dropping of the 2024 Finance Bill can be traced back to the events that shaped the drafting and assenting of the 2023 Finance Act. The then Treasury Cabinet Secretary, Professor Njuguna Ndogo, presented budget estimates aimed at helping the government raise revenue amid concerns the public coffers were empty.
Kenyans are committing their money through the levy for this program, for the dignity of other Kenyans, so that other Kenyans can have a job, so that we can have decent housing, so that we can eradicate slums.
At the time, a section of Kenyans had expressed reservation on the housing fund that had been set at 3%, which was later reduced to 1.5% following a public outcry.
By increasing taxes year in, year out, I think you are causing profuse hemorrhage to private consumption.
I have identified almost 20 areas to reduce taxes so that we can alleviate the heavy burden on the Republic of Kenya. Na pia nimepunguza pesa ambayo tumekuwa tukikopa.
During voting, of the 256 MPs who took a vote, 184 members were in favour of the 1.5% introduction of the housing levy, while 72 MPs voted against the amendment.
I now put the question that clause 28 be part of the bill. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay.
The matter will end up in court over its constitutionality, as it was designed to target only those in employment.
Article 10, 201, 2010 of the Constitution, that levy against persons in formal employment to the exclusion of other non-formal income earners without justification is discriminatory.
I know the court have said we should go and readjust the law to make it aligned appropriately. That we are going to do, so that the 120,000 people can become 200,000 and can become 500,000.
Fast forward to 2024, a different script from the 2023 Finance Act, but a similar reaction to it. This time, Treasury proposed various tax measures that will see an impact on basic commodities such as bread, vegetable oil, motor vehicle tax, sanitary towels and diapers. The finance bill will once again spark public debate.
So it's not just that we are arguing for bread. I think Parliament should be especially cautious in a country where 30% of children under the age of 5 have shown persistent lack of food, which has led them to be stunted.
Molo Member of Parliament Kimani Kuria, who is the chair of the Finance Committee, received views from the public on the removal of some of the clauses in the bill.
We appreciate that this tax is quite steep. We look at the factors that insurance right now is going at 4 to 5% at a comprehensive level. Adding a 2.5% can be quite significant on taxpayers.
The taxes we are paying going to what will benefit Kenyans generally, or they are misplaced and they are not put in a way that it comes back to me.
Tunataka hii finance bill iondolewe kabisa, kwa sababu hata ile ambayo walipitisha last year bado inatukandamiza.
Now the problem is nobody wants the budget to, okay, not this side, but the political side.
This will culminate in a meeting with the president where it was agreed to scrap the proposal of a 16% VAT on bread, excise duty on mobile money transfer, 2.5% tax on motor vehicles, and the taxes on diapers and sanitary towels.
One of them is that we need to protect Kenyans from increased cost of living, and therefore the proposed 16% VAT on bread has been dropped.
However, the announcement did little to appease the public, who pushed for the rejection of the entire bill, arguing lack of sufficient time to pursue through the alternative areas proposed to meet the projected budget. And as the amended bill was being debated in Parliament, there were nationwide protests outside the chambers. The controversial bill nonetheless was approved with 195 lawmakers voting in favour of the bill, while 106 voted against the bill and 3 votes were spoiled. The protesters outside Parliament buildings, angered by the passage of the bill, gained access into the Parliament buildings.
We shall provide a full, effective and expeditious response to today's treasonous events.
Days of protests will follow that led to President William Ruto to decline to assent to the bill and refer it back to Parliament in its entirety.
I concede, and therefore I will not sign the 2024 finance bill.
Opposers of the bill pushed for scrapping of certain offices and positions that will save the taxpayer millions. A section of cabinet secretaries and government officials were also on the spot for allegedly displaying opulence at a time the country was struggling financially. During the protest, dozens lost their lives, others injured, while others were unaccounted for.
About 65 Kenyans lost their lives, and we have actually been able to share this information. In fact, the first peaceful protester who passed away was Rex Masai.
We still have a country that is yet to heal, and especially looking at the women who've lost their children, and that has in itself caused a raft of challenges across. We know that there are parents who cannot still account for their children to date.
The president will later dissolve his entire cabinet, with the exemption of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi.
I have today decided to dismiss with immediate effect all the Cabinet Secretaries and Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, of the Cabinet of Kenya.
Further austerity measures were introduced to curb wastage.
I am directing for immediate further austerity measures to reduce expenditure.
With the Finance Bill 2024 withdrawn following countrywide protests, the government had resorted to use the Finance Act of 2023. However, that was faced with a lot of hurdles, where a similar case is before the Apex Court that is spearheaded by none other than the Chief Justice Martha Koome. The government fell back on the Finance Act of 2023, which is now a subject of court process amid queries on its constitutionality.
Parliament is the weakest link in the efforts to democratize our society. Why? Because they were supposed to enact some certain fundamental legislations to operationalize something like public participation.
The president has since engaged the youth in a historic meeting online and held 3 town hall meetings in Mombasa, Nairobi, Kisumu on issues such as the university funding model.
We must be bold enough to make the right decisions, because sometimes the right decisions are not very popular. And you know, when the right decisions are not popular, you are forced to make the wrong decisions merely because you are concerned about the next election. And that is how we have never made the decisions to change our country. By the way, I intend to make the difficult decision to change Kenya. That is my focus.
The events surrounding the money bills and the role of the public in contributing to its drafting is now in the interest of the Attorney General, who is expected to generate a public participation draft bill to guide the process.
The Attorney General will do what the Attorney General is required to do under the Constitution, and will make sure that whatever the Attorney General does is in the public interest.
Abdiaziz Hashim for Legends Edition.